Welcome to the Beautiful View podcast, where we look for opportunities in life to see a beautiful view. I'm Candy.
And I'm Paul. We couldn't just skip over such a huge opportunity to share a powerful story. This episode is being released on Easter weekend, and appropriately, we're calling it Forgiven.
Yes, we have all had a situation where we've either had to offer forgiveness to someone or we have had to ask for forgiveness from someone.
Yes.
We're going to discuss today how to live a lifestyle of forgiveness because of the forgiveness that has been offered to each of us. We can't wait to share with you today.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the beautiful view.
We could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time and face our future too. Oh, I'm not scared of where I'm going, 'cause I know whose hands I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere as long as you're going to. Well, I'd go anywhere as long as I'm with you.
Seems like spring has sprung.
Yes, it has.
There's been a lot happening here over the last couple of weeks as we get ready for camping season.
Yes, we've been really busy around here.
Yep.
Tyler has been, well, we all have kind of had a hand in
All
it,
of
but
us.
he's been baking coffee cakes to raise money to go to Boy Scout camp this summer.
Yes.
So this coffee cake recipe is one of my great-grandmother's original recipes.
Yeah.
And we've been doing this for years. Every year we bake these. They're all homemade from scratch. Let
The deeding of the no.
Okay, so let the yeast rise, punch it down,
Yeah.
do all the things.
Yes.
And yeah, so it's been a big deal. So anyway,
deal.
but we had 48 orders placed,
Yes.
so that more than pays for supplies and his camp, and he'll even have a little bit of extra in his
Yeah.
camp fund, I think. So
We always get an amazing amount of support from the community for Tyler.
yeah.
And someone said to me that they were very impressed that Tyler wasn't just coming knocking on their door asking for money. He was actually rolling up his sleeves and getting, the cakes made and doing something to raise the money. So
Yes.
they were very impressed with that. So that's good.
He's a hard worker. So.
And what else have we been doing?
So we had the alternator rebuilt for our truck.
Yes, we did.
And it's amazing. Alternator put in, and suddenly the headlights
The
are
lights
bright,
come on.
and the dash lights are bright, and the door locks work, and the cruise control works, and
Everything works.
the air conditioner.
Yeah, I mean, we've been chasing down little gremlins on our truck one at a time.
Yeah.
But they were all symptoms of a core problem, which was we didn't have any power coming from the alternator.
Right. And this isn't a new problem. Like, we
No.
should have done this probably 7 years ago.
A long time ago.
Looks good. That's all good. All right. Here we go.
Woohoo! No squeaky belt.
That was quiet.
Sounds good.
Wow.
Good job, babe.
First time without a squeak.
But as usual, until it became an issue where I couldn't get into the truck.
Yeah.
The AC completely stopped working when we were about to go to Texas. Until it became an issue that was serious enough, we didn't deal with it.
Yeah.
So
that's how we roll.
Run of the mill. That's what we do. And also, I've been working on the RV because as we record this, the end of this week, we are going to our local state park.
Yes.
Just to kind of give it a dry run to make sure everything is working okay while we can still access our
Tools
shop and
and-
tools and all the
Yep.
things. And so, while we're still close, we can get those things sorted out.
Yep.
And so I have done maintenance on all of the AC units, all three of them. So
We will need those in Texas.
we will need those in Texas. And so I think we're almost ready to do this thing.
And we're looking forward to seeing everybody in Texas. We got
Yes.
some work stuff to do down there, so it'll be a good trip.
do, yeah.
So let's just jump right into this
Let's
today.
do.
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
How many times a week do you think you say that you are sorry?
Well, how many days are there in a week?
7.
7 days in a week, so 432 times on my rough calculation.
We joke about this a lot, but I feel like you were always apologizing for some random something, and sometimes it's not even anything.
Well, it's kind of a British thing. You know, my mother always taught us to be quick to apologize, to say all of your please and thank yous. And so she kind of, she taught us to be polite. And she drilled that into us from like when we were little kids.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I guess it's a hard habit to break. But I probably take the sorries to the extreme a little bit.
Yeah, a little. So, but, you know, really, sometimes we recognize immediately when something comes out of our mouth or we do something that we shouldn't have, and our conscience like reprimands us like immediately, and we offer an apology.
Yes, maybe my conscience is set to like overly sensitive.
Maybe. Wouldn't it be nice, though, if we could edit like our daily conversations and all the things that we do, like we edit our podcast, you know, cut out all the extra chatter and the things that didn't quite come out just the way we wanted them to. And, you know, just only include the things that were well thought out and kind of
that sounds
meaningful parts.
Well, that sounds nice, but thankfully the little red light that's on the camera over there is not on for our entire life.
Oh, thank goodness.
So we it would be nice to be able to edit the things we do and say, but we definitely don't need that little red record light on for our entire lives.
Oh, can you imagine these people that do like reality TV and that kind of stuff? Ugh, that would be awful.
Yeah.
And I'm sure those are edited too, but yeah, no, that would be awful. And we are by no means experts in this area, but I think it's really healthy to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
So, and even preparing for this episode and then talking about these kinds of things, it often challenges us
always
personally to improve in these areas that we're talking about on our podcast. So, and we hope that our conversations that we have also help our listeners too.
Yes, so please remember that while we're offering advice, there are so many times each day that we face challenges in the area of forgiveness, and we do not always make the right decisions. So, with that in mind, let's all look at how we can live a lifestyle of forgiveness.
Let's talk about expectations first. We all have expectations every single day of ourselves, of others, of situations, all of those things.
Yeah, we expect people to act a certain way. We expect to be understood and appreciated by others. When we get to the end of our work days, you know, when we sit down, because we're now working in different places, I'm working here at the house and you're working down there. When we sit down and compare notes, it seems like the things that always make the top of the list are the moments where something unexpected happened.
Yeah, that's true. And every day there are a lot of opportunities to get irritated, get mad, get even, or even hold a grudge. It's so easy to get offended these days, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That's probably one of the main ways that life can become really difficult if we're not careful.
Yeah, most of the time, it's the small things that get us, too. We live in a society that it's quick to place blame, quick to get angry, and quick to vent about the things that bug us.
Yes, and Facebook makes it so easy to vent, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Social media in general is just, it can be brutal. But is that how we should live? We can get our panties in a twist over the silliest things sometimes. But here's the thing. Someone can tick us off randomly, even in a very minor way. And we can often let that get under our skin, and it just bugs us all day long.
Yeah. The original offender might even be completely oblivious to our frustrations.
Oftentimes, yeah.
But we can often let it consume our thoughts and ruin our peace. And it's just silly to do that when you think about it. That's the thing about holding on to the memory of the point where someone offended us. It's more harmful to us than it is for them.
Yeah, that's very true.
Our friend Mark Riggins actually wrote about this in his very practical book about this topic titled Stuck. And we're going to include a link to the book in the show notes. And it's a great read, so you need to check it out.
Yeah.
So he says, forgiveness is deciding to release the other person's debt to you. And that's what God did for us.
Yeah.
That's what you can do for your offender. The key word in that definition is deciding. It's a decision that you're capable of making. Holding on to past pain is like the little boy at the park sitting on a bench in obvious pain. A man walked by and noticed the boy was in pain, so he asked what was wrong. The boy answered, "I'm sitting on a bumblebee."
Ooh.
"Then why don't you get up?" the man asked. "Because I figure I'm hurting him more than he's hurting me." Releasing debt requires you to decide to get off the park bench.
That's a good illustration. What if we started practicing forgiving people for the little things that they do to annoy and irritate and offend us instead of escalating the situation by notifying everyone that we're ticked off? Ouch, my toes. That is so hard sometimes. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, when we get frustrated, the first thing we want to do is vent our frustrations. We want everyone to know about it.
Oh, yes. Let's think about this for a minute. So, how does that work? Does that really, being mad about it, does that really change anything? Probably not. Does it make you feel any better? Not really, because you're just stewing in it. Consuming your thoughts and conversations. Yes, that's exactly what it does.
Yes, but it's so hard to resist the temptation to talk about it. In fact, it can almost be fun to kind of gossip a little, right?
Yeah.
But it has a way of taking over if we let it. The list is endless. Someone cutting you off in traffic, or someone cutting in line at the grocery store, or maybe someone grabbed that last bag of Arena Street coffee just as you were walking up to get it.
Someone posting something ridiculous or hurtful on social media.
Yes.
The lady at the store that was so rude to you that you had like a imaginary conversation with her all the way home. All the things that you would have said to her if you'd thought of them when you were at the time.
Yes.
Just go ahead and forgive them. None of those things are big things. No. And I believe that if we can get really good at forgiving in the relatively minor, everyday things, we'll be in good practice when it comes to the big things.
Yes.
It's easy to talk hypothetical situations, but what if the one who offended you lives with you? The people that we're around the most are the ones that have the most potential to irritate, offend, hurt us.
Yes. That's why I keep saying sorry, just in case. I'm sort of like banking the sorries.
Well, we do spend a lot of time with each other. And honestly, I think we expect more out of the people that are closest to us, don't you?
Yeah.
And just a little disclaimer here. We're not talking about abuse or anything like that. If you are in a dangerous situation, please seek help.
Yes.
We're talking about disagreements, misunderstandings, miscommunication, and those little irritations that we get fired up about sometimes.
People will always disappoint and irritate us, even loved ones, just as we disappoint and irritate them. Rather than holding on to those irritations or using them as verbal weapons in an argument, what if we aim for peace and just forgive quickly and easily? Easier said than done sometimes.
If it was only that easy.
If it was only that easy.
So here's the deal. The key to the whole thing is practice.
Yes.
You don't get good at anything without practice. You can't just sit down at a piano with no knowledge of how to read music or anything like that and expect to play at an expert level. That's not how that works. You have to learn a few notes. And then those notes come together. You move into blending those into chords. And then the chords, you add onto that, you add harmony. And then eventually you can play beautiful music. It's the same way with forgiveness and learning how to forgive. If you do the little things and then you just gradually build on that, it gets easier.
And becomes a beautiful melody.
Beautiful melody. Yes.
Maybe we start our path to a life of forgiveness with the basic small things. We forgive the guy for taking the last bag of Verena Street coffee just before we got to it. We forgive the person who let go of their shopping cart in the parking lot and it rolled into our truck.
Oh, there's that.
Yeah, so maybe we forgive the semi-truck driver when he bears down on the back of us while we're in a single-lane construction zone and there's a 50-mile-an-hour limit.
Yeah, that is frustrating. When we practice forgiving the little things, we get better at forgiving our spouse when words are spoken out of frustration or misunderstanding. I know you never do that. We get better at offering forgiveness in general to others.
2, let's recognize the value of forgiveness. Let's understand that forgiveness is not about condoning harmful actions, but about freeing yourself from the burden of anger and resentment.
Yeah, sometimes holding on to those things so tightly, it kind of almost keeps us captive. It can do more harm to us when we don't forgive.
Yes.
Forgiving doesn't mean the other person didn't do something wrong, though.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that Mark points out in his book. It takes effort to forgive properly in a way that has a positive impact on our relationships with others and on our own mental and emotional health. He writes that it can be tempting to shortcut the process by just forgetting about it. I think he meant that there's a process to go through for those times when something serious has happened that's weighing on us.
Yeah, we don't need to dwell on every last thing. Sometimes we don't need to sweat the small stuff, right?
No, I don't think that's what he is meaning for us to do. And there's some very helpful things in his book. Like a lot of times we ignore the part that we played in what happened that went wrong. Like sometimes there's some things that, we need to take responsibility for and recognize that we probably helped lead to that bad situation. And then when we do that, we can sort of like get ourselves on the same page with the other person and then to release that person in forgiveness. And it's not a matter of just forgetting that anything happened at all. There's generally something that happened that both parties need to learn from.
I think sometimes it's the offender is just reacting to something else. So oftentimes, though we're forgiving someone, we need to ask for forgiveness too, because it's oftentimes a chain reaction. So number 3 is forgive yourself. Forgiveness isn't just about forgiving others. It's also about forgiving yourself for the mistakes that you make and your shortcomings.
Yes.
When I mess up, I'm often harder on myself because I'm disappointed in my behavior. Sometimes it's hard to let that go and to move forward, but it's necessary.
When I hear words come out of my mouth, like when I'm immediately regretting what I just said, I often want to say, that's not what I meant, that's not a reflection of where my heart is at, but it's too late once the words leave your mouth.
Yeah. And then it's hard because it's hard to backtrack and say, oh, I didn't mean to say that, or that didn't come out right.
Yeah.
Or because they're like, yeah, right.
Yeah, right. But you just said it, didn't you?
You just said it. So, but I'm guilty of that too. What comes out of my mouth sometimes is not, I wish that we could, type things out, and
script it a little better.
Script it a little bit better in these heated conversations when things just and I wish I could edit it, kind of like the podcast, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. I know I can be hard on myself at times, but I do realize that I have that trait. And if I'm in a good place, then I've learned I can laugh at myself,
Yeah, that's a healthy thing to be able to laugh at yourself.
Yes. So 4, we can focus on the future. So instead of dwelling on the past, focus on building a future that's filled with love, peace, and forgiveness.
Yeah. Oftentimes when we get frustrated or irritated or whatever, we get stuck in this cycle of conversations, just talking about it constantly.
Going on over and over it.
Over and over and over it. When you forgive someone, though, and you lay that down, and then you step over that line,
It breaks the cycle.
it breaks the cycle, and then you can move forward toward bigger and better things.
When we get stuck in a place in the past where an offense occurred, then we start missing out on all the good things that are happening right now.
Yeah.
In fact, we might even miss the good things that our original offender is currently doing, and that further imprisons them in the identity we believe that they've earned.
Sometimes, if you've got someone in your past that has offended you, and maybe they're a certain type of person,
Yeah.
like a type A personality or whatever,
Strong leader.
strong leader, and someone has hurt you, and you come across someone else later in life
That fits that same.
kind of, that has that same personality, we can be really brutal in putting those people in a box when they haven't even done anything to us. So
Yeah, I think when we get hurt, like the natural thing to do is to put up some walls against that. So we've been hurt, we've been offended, whatever, and we're like, I'm never going to let that happen to me again. But when we do that, that changes us into something that we're not supposed to be, and it starts putting us on a defensive against other people. And I mean, there can be strong leaders who have good intentions and actually want to do good things. And if we start treating them the same way as we've experienced in the past, then we're missing out.
yeah, that's very true. The Lord's Prayer is one of the most quoted prayers in the Bible. I remember when I was in high school, and before every basketball game, the whole team would gather around and we would hold hands and we would say the Lord's Prayer together. I wonder if teams still do that these days. I don't know. Anyway, within this prayer is an equally recognizable phrase. It says, "And forgive us our debts as we have forgiven our debtors."
After sharing this example of how we should all pray with his disciples, Jesus concludes with a cautionary note. He says, "For if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins."
Recalling Jesus' words, Peter later inquired, "Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times?" He thought he was being very generous with that one. And Jesus answered, "I tell you, not 7 times, but 70 times 7 times." Jesus was basically saying that the extension of our forgiveness should be infinite. There is no limit.
It's about living a life of forgiveness. Likewise, no sin is too great for God's forgiveness. His grace surpasses anything that we can do wrong. It is limitless.
Yeah. This Easter weekend, we would like to encourage you to consider the sacrifice that Jesus made on your behalf and to seek God's forgiveness. He will grant it. Jesus died a criminal's death on a cross, but that isn't the end of the story.
It isn't. He came back to life on the 3rd day. The gift of salvation that he offers is just that. It's a free gift. The debt has already been paid. The forgiveness is free for the taking. You can simply confess your sins, ask for his forgiveness, and he will come into your heart and be your Savior right here and right now. His grace covers everything. You will be forgiven. It's that simple.
Yes. Happy Easter, everyone. Jesus is risen and
Amen.
we are forgiven. And that is today's beautiful view.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today. Our hope is always to inspire and encourage our listeners. So we hope this episode has given you some things to think about. Whether you need to forgive someone in your life or you need to ask for forgiveness. If you would like to have a further conversation with us about the forgiveness that Jesus offers, please reach out to us. We would love to continue that conversation with you.
If you like what we do here at the Beautiful View Podcast, you can show your appreciation by becoming a supporting member for only $5 a month. We'll send you a members-only Beautiful View Podcast sticker
Yep.
and a weekly encouraging newsletter to your inbox. Your support helps cover our production costs. The link to sign up is in our show notes.
Yeah. Also, be sure to follow Beautiful View Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Those links will also be in our show notes.
As we conclude each podcast, we always like to give the topic for the next episode. So what will we be talking about next time?
Well, on our next episode, it's going to be called Brushstrokes of Faith.
Okay.
We are going to be interviewing our friend Ryan Dalglish,
Okay.
who is an author, a pastor, and a very talented artist. He brings a creative flair to everything he does. It's going to be a really interesting conversation.
Yes, I'm so looking forward to that. If you want to see some of his artwork right now, then you can check out the link in our show notes.
Thank you once again for joining us today.
Yes.
We hope you have a great day, and remember to always keep an eye open for opportunities in life to see a beautiful view.
We could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time and face our future too. Oh, I'm not scared of where I'm going, 'cause I know whose hands I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere as long as you're going too. And I'd go anywhere as long as I'm with you. Yeah, I'd go